Hello everybody, welcome to Tourism WA's Beam the Dream segment here in Broome, or here on Yawuru country. Yawuru country is where Rubibi Tours operates our cultural tours. And so these tours are not just Yawuru cultural experiences though, these are Yawuru and Garajari, but we often talk about how we have a connection with our neighbours because that is the type of people we are. We've always had a respectful relationship with our neighbours ever since Bugarigara. Bugarigara is what we call, well, it's what other people have been calling the Dreamtime or the dreaming, and it's just only one part of explaining it is that Bugarigara is a time and place in the beginning of where we say everything that is natural on our country but also throughout Australia was created by spiritual beings during a time and place in the beginning when these spiritual beings kind of did what they did and just lived amongst country. And so, but when we tell these stories that have been passed on from generation to generation to where we are today, we're not just telling these stories of creations and about these spirit places on country. We're also telling stories that are lesson stories, and that's why our stories are very important. It's a part of making sure that our culture stays alive and teaching our young people how to stay how we have been in a traditional way for thousands and thousands of years. But Rubibi Tours operates in Broome here, as I said, in and around Broome. And so Yawuru country, which is where we are, about 25 or so kilometres to the north, or we say Gunian is our northern boundary, which is commonly known as Willie Creek. And so this place we call Widginmid. But to the south, about 60 kilometres in a straight line south-ish, in that direction pretty much, is where we start to meet Garajari country. I'm a Yawuru man from my dad's side, and I'm also a Garajari man because of my mum's connection, yeah? And so I'm a Yawuru and Garajari man, and so Yawuru and Garajari, as I said, is what we mostly share here in Rubibi Tours. And so we say that our people have been here for thousands of years, but Yawuru and Garajari have always had a connection with each other, and that's how we're able to get away with sharing two different tribal groups, language groups, if you like, whatever you want to call it, in this area here. And so, to our east we have Nyigana country, and if you were to go about 100, 110 or so kilometres in that direction, we start to come to, you notice Yawuru country is quite flat. We don't have those big rainforests, big hills, big mountains, or those big, the big plateaus or anything like that. But when you start to get about 100, 110 kilometres or thereabouts, you start to find some high country. And that high country goes for a while, then it goes down into the Fitzroy River system. That high country around that area is where we have our boundary for Yawuru country, hey? And so, you kind of notice that I said it's around that area. It's not, you'd probably notice lines when you look on a map. These lines are not our system, hey? We've always had a shared country area kind of overlapping, if you like, or a connecting area at all of our different directions where we meet our neighbours, hey? And so always had a respectful relationship with our neighbours in every direction, as I said earlier. And so what I want to do, because I don't want to bore you with too much talking, I could talk all day, what I want to do is I do want to pass you on to Uncle Mervyn, who's been standing next to me the whole time. His nickname is Uncle Mullet because of his last name, and he's going to tell you some stories, and he's going to lead the Bendle dancers into a Maru session. And so this is kind of a little snippet segment of what we do on our Wagaj experience, which is what we do every Thursday here in Broome. We normally get people together, make them feel really welcomed and comfortable and relaxed, of course. Put out some tea and coffee, there's a bit of a billy boiling, and we cook some damper. We cooked some damper just not long ago, and so we got it ready to go, and some people are going to watch us, and so we're going to give them some of the damper to go with that locally harvested bush honey. And this is what we normally do, as well as the storytelling, songs and dances, which is Uncle Mullet's going to share with you now.
My name is Mervyn Malari. My traditional country is 180 kilometers south of Broome. I'm a Garajari person. This crop we're going to do is called Pintirri. Pintirri in my language means clear place or ground. And there's a lot of songs that we sing under Pintirri. We sing about the birds, sing about the animals, sing about the stars, sing about country. And a lot of the song lines we sing is a song line that my grandfather dreamt. They all come from dreams, all this Pintirri crop. And we just don't make it up. You have to be captured from a dream. And so we're going to do some of this crop today. It's very important for me and my family and for Garajari people. And especially my grandfather who dreamt this. This first crop we're going to do, it's about, it's called Yanji Yanji. And Yanji Yanji is a very important song because my grandfather went to sleep. When he went to sleep, he had a dream. And in that dream, he was walking on a beach like this. And when he was walking on a beach like this, he saw a silhouette of a man in the distance. And this man, he was staring at this man. And this man was sort of moving. And this man was coming closer. When he was coming closer, he was sort of chanting and singing to him. And he was holding a spear. So my grandfather stood there in that dream. And when he stood there in that dream, he came closer and closer. and came face to face with my grandfather. So my grandfather, he stood up in front of him and he gave him the spear and he gave him this song. So he captured this song in that dream. When he woke up, he went and made a spear and started to sing this crowberry. He started to sing this maro. We say maro in Gayari language. So he got up and sang this maro, and this maro is about that yanyanyi, and it's very important about the yanji. Yanyanyi is we use for culture, we use for spear, and we use for ceremony, and it's a very important tool. In other words, we call it meaning. So this first dance, that my grandfather captured in a dream, called yanyanyi. Yanji yanji la maral borula la ni maral borula yanji yanji la maral borula na ni borula yanji yanji la maral borula na ni maral borula yanji yanji la maral borula na ni borula yanji yanji la maral borula na ni maral borula yaji yaji la maral borula nani borula yaji yaji la maral borula nani maral borula yaji yaji la maral borula nani borula yaji yaji la maral borula nani maral borula. My grandfather was standing one day. He didn't know. He saw his dance had blank nothing on their body. You know, he wanted to make his dance better. So he went to another sleep and had another dream. And when he had another dream, he went in this dream, he was walking and came across a cave. He saw a figure, he saw a spirit of a man standing in this cave. When he was standing in this cave, he went up to this cave and saw this figure of a man had a design on his body. So my grandfather asked him in that dream, he asked him, look, I want to grab your design off your body. But this man, and that figure of a man said no. So he went into the cave. When he went into the cave, you know, my grandfather asked him again when he showed himself again. So he asked him 5 days straight. When he asked him 5 days straight, he still didn't want to come out. So he sang this gada gada. He kept this gada gada as he was coming through the cave and the sound of this song. Pede yolalja, raringola malmalga ragare, raringola na, raringola malmalga ra. Nile pede yolalja, raringola malmalga ragare, raringola na, pede yolalja, raringola malmalga ra. Nile pede yolalja, raringola malmalga. So this figure of a man liked the sound of the song. So he let his design go and floated into the air, and it went and floated and planted himself on my grandfather's body. That's why today we paint these boys in that design. There was another dream he had. This other dream, he saw a man laying down and making a fire by chucking jalongo, we say jalongo, chucking grass or chucking leaf on the fire. You know, awalyaga, we say awalyaga, chucking leaf on the fire. He was making this smoke. He was healing himself with this smoke. My grandfather stood there in that dream. When he bugarimara, he said bugarimara dream. He sat there in the dream and he sat behind him. The smoke was coming out, but he can hear the song coming out of the smoke. So he captured that song out of the smoke. And this person was telling him, break the leaf and dance with the spear. I'm going to give you a song called Erer. Erer jangan garari rari la ningan garari la. Erer jangan garari rari la ni. Orola erer jangan garari rari la ningan garari la. Erer jangan garari rari la ni. Orola erer jangan garari rari la ningan garari la. Erer jangan garari rari la ni. Orola erer jangan garari rari la ningan garari la. Erer Orola Jangangari.
So if you just joined us, excuse me, the fly got me there. If you just joined us, my name is Johani and I'm from Marbury Tours, and with me is Uncle Mervyn, or Uncle Mervyn Maladi, and we're down here at Illagun, otherwise known as Riddell Beach in Broome, or Yawuru country, hey? And so, if you just joined us, thank you for joining us. Welcome. People you just watched dancing are what we call Bidadi dancers, who are always led by Uncle Mervyn Maladi. I'm going to pass you back to him now so he can tell you another story.
In a dream, my grandfather went to sleep and he had another dream. He had another Bugatti. When he slept that night, he came across a tree. He stood in front of the tree, and when he was standing there, this wind was blowing. All the leaf was all moving. When he was moving, he could hear the sound of this chant coming through the tree. So my grandfather stood there. When he stood there, this tree was actually talking to him, and he was telling him, I want to give you a marrow. I'm going to give you a song. Break my leaf of this tree. He's telling my grandfather in that particular dream. So my grandfather woke up in the morning and went and broke the leaf of this tree. And he captured that song from that dream. And he woke up and sang this song called Bendle. So he broke that leaf of the tree. Bendle ba gumari na jarangul ba gari gumari na Bendle ba gumari na jarangul ba gari Orola Bendle ba gumari na jarangul ba gari gumari na Bendle ba gumari na jarangul ba gari Orola Bendle ba Marina Yarangula Gari Mariana Marina Yarangula Gari Orola Vinindula Marina Yarangula Gari Mariana Vinindula Marina Yarangula Gari Orola There are a lot of songs that we sing about. We may sing about the smallest thing, but the smallest thing have a bigger meaning. We sing about the Hornet. The Hornet was a very important thing that paved its way through our country. We say in our language, we say Mandaroro. And this Hornet is building its foundation, like, when we say Bugari got a Dreamtime, it's our foundation in our culture. But this Hornet was building his foundation, he was building his nest, his home, and his place. But he was also a creator in Garayari country, traveled through the country. My grandfather captured this song in that dream about this Hornet, Mandaroro. Mandaroro now, Wanaga Yere, Wandi, Wanaga Yere, Mandaroro now, Wanaga Yere, Wandi. Yere manur now wanaga yere wani dale manur now wanaga yere wani wanaga yere manur now wanaga yere wani dale manur Pintirri is a songland that traveled through Garayari country, came to Yawuru country. A lot of our old people used to sing this Pintirri, shared amongst all of us. But, these old people are very important. My grandfather went to sleep again and he had a dream. And in that dream, he saw these old people walking. But they was all singing in this waterhole, Jilla, I say. So he followed them and they were singing and leaving these songs in them places. Then he went to another waterhole. He sang and went to the other places. So, my grandfather followed them in that dream when he was in that dream. He went there, and he came across his last waterhole where these old people stood there. and they looked up to him, and they gave him a song in that dream, to sing about these old people who carried the culture and the law on their backs and to pass it on. So he kept that song, and he woke up in the morning and started to sing that song, that Maro, about these old people traveling to the country. And this song is about them old people. Ra ra la ra ra di di ga ga di gan go do la ra ra la ra ra di di ga ga di do ro la ra ra la ra ra di di ga ga di gan go do la ra ra la ra ra di di ga ga di do ro la. There was a cloud in the distance coming from this way here. It was rolling like a wave, a long cloud. In Gargari language, we call it margla. But in that cloud, a Bolan been playing in the cloud. Bolan we call rainbow servant, but he was rolling in that cloud. He was playing in that cloud. My grandfather stood watching at this cloud coming in from Yanja, from rolling in like a wave. When it was coming in, my grandfather stood there. He stood there. This Bolan was dancing in that cloud, this rainbow servant. He was dancing in that cloud, but he was also singing. When he rolled in, my grandfather captured that song. When he captured the song, he grabbed it off him. Behind came that thunder, lightning, the power of thunder, lightning, and rain. This Maro sings about that particular dream. When my grandfather got up in the morning, he started to sing this dance. Wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, jumara mal gari, ginger mele mele, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, jumara mal gari, ginger mele mele, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, jumara mal gari, ginger mele mele, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala. Wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, chimara mal gari, ginger mele mele, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala. Wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, chimara mal gari, ginger mele mele, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala. Wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, chimara mal gari, ginger mele mele, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala. Wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, chimara mal gari, ginger mele mele, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, chimara mal gari, ginger mele mele, wagur mala ganga, wagur mala mala, chimara mal gari. Wawara kano, vermal banyangnya wambo galayari, jare golena. Tele wambo galagangau, vermal banyangnya wambo galayari, jare golena. Tele wambo galagangau.
So that was just a little snippet of our Wagaj experience, which Mabuiburi Tours does. Mabuiburi Tours does have a few other options if you want to check our website at broomeaboriginaltours.com.au. You'll notice we not only have the dance experience with the damper as well, which I'm going to give to our guests very shortly, but we also have wildlife encounter experience, one of the only experiences that takes you for a private experience down to the Malcolm Douglas Crocodile Park and allows you to feed whatever you want, really, or whatever is hungry on the day, I suppose. With the crocodiles and alligators are always pretty much hungry. But before I move on, I'm going to grab some of the damper and bring it over to our guests, as I said. But while I'm doing that, I might just ask Uncle Mullet to explain to you about what you've been noticing we've been using as an instrument. Our boomerangs, or what we call cully, down Perth, they obviously call them Kylie, and so you notice a bit of a resemblance there. But I'm going to let Uncle Mullet tell you about that while I just grab the damper.
Yeah, just letting you know that, you know, this part of the country, from Bogari time, from Dreamtime, a lot of people around Australia associate all the indigenous people as being didgeridoo players, but this part of the country, didgeridoo never ever came down here. We only had boomerangs, the curly, for singing. You know, we believe bottom part of Australia is all curly or boomerang culture. You know, and didgeridoo only stopped in top part of Australia, and this is what we sing it, and this is what we, a lot of our Maro songs are played in this, and this is, this is our traditional musical instrument that we use. It's very important,
So this perfectly cooked damper, we just cooked over there in the dry sand off this, where the tide's obviously gone out. It's a little bit moist here, so we did it up there, the dry sand where the tide didn't make it. And so unfortunately the reception isn't great over there, so we did that earlier, so we can just kind of bring it over here. Otherwise we would have showed you how we cook it in the ground in a traditional method, which is what we do in a Wild Guys experience as well. And so the stories come with that as well, but if you want to hear those, you'll have to come on that experience, eh? And so let's give it a cut and see how it looks. Wish me luck. As Uncle Mullet said earlier, the women normally do this. It's not like we're a sexist people. The women just do it, and they do better at it, maybe, and so that's not too bad. Still a little bit warm too, which is great. And so you notice these honey jars I've got here. There's a few different of them there, but these honey is basically gathered. Well, basically here in Yawuru country, we have a family, or there is a Yawuru family that has a beehive business. And so these bees aren't native bees, but these bees are on Yawuru country, and during particular seasons, when particular plants are in season or flowering, or those little bees starting to get those little, the nectar from all the flowers, then these bees go and steal all that honey and then puts it inside their hives. And so then we're able to purchase it from Walija, which is the name for honey in Yawuru language, but it's the name of their business. And so people get to eat locally harvested bush honey. It's just don't have to put in all the work to do it, get it in the traditional method, hey? So it saves you some time and energy. But it's very nice honey. You can't go wrong with honey, hey? All right. Normally the traditional way when we're hacking into damper is just break it up. But because we're on a tour, we've got to do things fancy, don't we? All right, so there you go, guys. Dig in. There is a knife if you want to cut it open. And again, there is your locally harvested bush honey. Help yourself.
Beautiful.
So there's different type of honey there. We get the particular honey, I think they call it from the Melaleuca, we call gunwood. This is the paperbark tree, or sometimes people call it the tea tree. Then there's the bloodwood and grevillea. But yeah, so again, if you want to experience that, come and see us. Otherwise, we're going to wrap things up because we've been going for a while now. We don't want to take up all your time. Thanks again for joining me and Uncle Mervyn and the Renati Dancers and Mabuburri Tours here on Yawuru Country. Look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, guys.